Today we are going to do an I-cord bind off. The I-cord bind off is really useful for shawls. It's a really beautiful bind off and it gives you this sort of rolled edge with these long pretty stitches. It's also pretty stretchy, so it works nicely for shawls, and yeah, it just looks absolutely beautiful on the end of a shawl. I have this swatch here which we are going to be casting off today. So we'll be binding off in this direction. Before we start, we want to do a backwards loop cast on and add 3 additional stitches to the work. So I will wrap my yarn around my thumb, stick my needle through the bottom, and pull it tight. So wrap around, needle through the bottom, pull it tight. Now we have 3 extra stitches on the front. Once we have those 3 stitches, we can work the bind off. Now that we've cast on those 3 extra stitches, we're going to start working the bind off in this direction. The pattern that we'll be repeating is knit 2, slip 1 knitwise with the yarn in the back, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, and then transfer them back to that needle. Sometimes knitting these first few stitches that you cast on can be a little finicky, but once you knit them, then it's smooth sailing from there. So we are going to start with that first stitch. Knit 1, knit 2. There we go, so we've knit 2. We're going to slip this stitch knitwise, so we're going to come as though to knit, slip it off the needle, and then we will knit the next stitch. Now we're going to take that stitch that we just slipped and we're going to pass it over that knit stitch. So I'll put my needle through it, grab it, pull it over the knit stitch and off the needle, so you're getting rid of 1 stitch. Now we want to pass these stitches back onto the left needle. And then from there on out, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to knit 2 stitches, slip 1 knitwise with the yarn in the back, knit 1 stitch, pass that slip stitch over the knit stitch, and bring them back to the left hand needle. So one more time. So we will knit 1, knit 2, slip 1 knitwise with a yarn in the back, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, and transfer back to that needle. So we're going to continue doing this pattern until we reach the 3 stitches that are at the very end. So continue until there are 3 stitches left on your needle. We are about to get to the end here. There are 4 stitches left, and so we're going to do the last repeat. So we're going to knit 1, knit 2, slip that stitch knitwise, knit the last stitch, pass the slip stitch over, and then transfer those back to the left hand needle. So now that we're down to 3 stitches, we are going to end our bind off. And to do that, we're just going to do a traditional knit bind off. So we're going to knit 2 stitches, and then we're going to pass the knit stitch over, knit another stitch, pass that knit stitch over. Now we're down to 1 on the needle, and we can cut the end and we can close our work and weave in all the ends. Now you have this beautiful bind off on the edge here that rolls, and you can see the stitches from different angles. Because you are essentially knitting the same stitches over and over again, this bind off does take a moment. So you have been warned that it can feel like it takes forever, but it's absolutely worth it for the beautiful edge that you get at the end. All right, happy knitting.